Hari Prabhu here.
Tadhavatonyani tatitishtat tashminapo mattarishvadadati tade jati tadnai jati tadhure tadvantike tarantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasyasya bhayata sapaya jakshukarmakaya navinam ashnaviram sudam papavidam kavimanisi paripu swayambhu yatayatatoritantyadatak echasatibhya samavyaha om purnamadaha purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnameva vashishyate purnamadaha purnamidam purnat Purnat purnamudachyate Purnasya purnamadaya Purnameva vashishyate Hiranmayena patrena Satyasya pihitam mukham Tattvam pushanapavinu Satyadharmaya dristaye Vayuranilam amritam Atedam vashmatam shahidam Om krito smara kritam smara Krito smara kritam smara Agnenaya supatare asman Vishmani deva vayanani vidmanyo Yashman jupuranamino Buhistam tena mautam videna Om purnamadaha purnamidam Purnat purnamudachyate Purnasya purnamadaya Purnameva vashishyate Purnat purnamudachyate Purnasya purnamadaya Purnameva vashishyate
Okay, thank you, Brother Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sopadantikam Vanshakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhya eva cha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Firstly, I hope you like the beautiful Upanishad verse recitation. His Grace Bada Hari Prabhu and Karanamrta Mataji and some other members of their team. Yeah, very beautiful. Yeah, His Grace Bada Hari Prabhu used to be, yeah, he used to be a musician. Yeah, he used to be a musician before he met Srila Prabhupada. And he had aspirations and he was also qualified. I think he learned further music from France, etc. He had gone to even France for his higher studies. Anyway, it's a very, very qualified person. He would have, Prabhu would have excelled anyway in his music career. But somehow he met Prabhupada and we have him. We have his association. And as we can see, he has been an influence on hundreds and thousands of people all over the world. So he may not be a Diksha Guru or anything like that, but just by his kirtans, he has influenced thousands of people, especially the generations, many generations of the devotees in ISKCON. So by his association, many devotees have used their musical abilities in the service of Krishna. So he continues to, he's a very humble person, but he continues to groom and give association to these devotees who are aspiring kirtaniyas. Yeah, again, so there are two aspects to kirtan. Of course, the musical abilities and what have you, the talent. But beyond that, the consciousness to be done for the pleasure of Krishna and Guru, that is not learned in the marketplace. It's learned from a Guru. So he's a Guru in his own right, Bada Hari Prabhu. Anyway, so I think he's established, he's trained, he's groomed many kirtaniyas in our movement. He does seminars on kirtan, the art of kirtan. So beautifully rendered is Upanishad verses Om Purnamadaha Purnamudachyate. Not all the 18 verses, but I think some of the verses have been rendered. Karanamrta, yeah, together they made a CD, which is a very famous one, this Om Purnam CD. So anyway, so let's continue. Um, yeah, I think sense I'm getting is I think today will be the last reading of Chaitanya Leela, I think. We began around Gaura Purnima. Yeah, Gaura Purnima, started reading Chaitanya Mangala, mostly read Chaitanya Mangala, sometimes read Caitanya Bhagavat. Yeah. So currently we skipped over, we read about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent and purpose, etc. Then we skipped over to his sannyas Leela. Then sannyas, now he's on his way to Puri. So we're reading that. So last time we read the breaking of the sannyas danda. Lord Nityananda, Jagadananda Pandit. Yeah, so let's just read that again one more time. So it seems Jagadananda Pandit Mahaprabhu went and he collected some alms. And then when he had gone to collect some alms, oh, anyway, yeah, he entrusted the danda, yeah, he entrusted the danda with Jagadananda Pandit. Jagadananda Pandit wanted to go and beg food, sorry. And so he assigned the danda to Lord Nityananda. Okay, page 30. Somehow Nityananda Prabhu and Jagadananda Pandit had fallen back a distance from the rest of the group. Small group. Jagadananda Pandit, Nityananda, Mukunda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and one or two others, I think. Somehow Nityananda Prabhu and Jagadananda Pandit had fallen back a distance from the rest of the group. Lord Chaitanya decided to sit down and wait for the two to catch up with them. Nityananda Prabhu was always engrossed in deep meditation on Lord Chaitanya. His loving mellow made him act intoxicated and mad. Sometimes he cried loudly, almost wailing, then suddenly began roaring loudly in an ear-splitting voice, then again abruptly starting to laugh. When he saw a river or stream, he plunged into the water and swam for a long time. So he was not bound by time or circumstances. When he saw a river or stream, he plunged into the water and swam for a long time. At times, he covered his body with dust. He would sometimes fall, swooning in ecstasy, to the ground, so hard that people were made to believe that all his bones were shattered. When he started dancing just on his own, it was difficult, or so it seemed, to keep the earth steady from tilting off balance. This sort of behavior and power are not unnatural for Lord Nityananda. Lord Anantashesha is his partial expansion, and Lord Chaitanya resides eternally in his heart. Jagadananda Pandit wanted to go and beg food from the village, so he wanted to leave the Lord's danda behind. He was assigned by the Lord to carry his sannyas danda or staff on the journey. He left Nityananda saying, "Here, look after the danda very carefully while I'm gone." Like classic, you get a service and you give that service to somebody else. He left Nityananda saying, "Here, look after the Lord's danda very carefully while I'm gone," and gave him the danda. Nityananda Prabhu, who was always meditating on Lord Chaitanya, took the danda and sat down. He began to speak to the danda. He started laughing, holding the danda in one hand, and began to speak to the danda. He said, "Oh danda, where is the logic that you should be carried by that personality who I bear in my heart?" Nityananda Prabhu, who is Lord Balaram, got up and then smashed the danda to the ground with immense force, breaking it in three places. The Supreme Lord alone knew his own desires. How can I know? This is Vrindavan Das Thakur saying. The Supreme Lord alone knows his own desires. How can I know why Nityananda Balaram broke the danda? Nityananda Prabhu knows intimately Lord Chaitanya's mind. Lord Chaitanya also fully understands Lord Nityananda's mind. They are brothers eternally, and they appear together in every millennium. Rama and Lakshman know each other's hearts deeply. They are the one and the same Supreme Lord, Parama Karuna Pahodujana. They have separated only to teach and enhance the loving mellows of devotional service. I'm able to know Lord Chaitanya and his pastimes only by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. Who other than Lord Balaram himself would have the power to smash the Lord's danda? Actually, it is Lord Chaitanya, the supreme teacher, who teaches through many subtle ways. One understands this essential truth, enjoys blissful devotional service. Anyway, as we know, devotees, many of the devotees, they could not fathom that the Supreme Lord, Lord Krishna himself, would take sannyas. So in Chaitanya Mangala, it is described Lord Nityananda was upset that Lord Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given up his flute, and he was bearing this tridanda and the kamandalu. So many devotees, Jagadananda Pandit, Mother Sachi, Vishnu Priya, and any all of them, they could not bear to see Lord Chaitanya in this sannyas ashram out of love. So just like how the gopis used to curse, the flute. Flute is always with Krishna. So this danda, now the flute has been replaced by the danda. He is not a sannyasi, he's a Supreme Lord. So anyway, who can understand? So he smashed Lord Balaram, Lord Nityananda, he smashed the danda. When Jagadananda Pandit returned, he found Nityananda sitting with the 3 broken pieces of the danda lying next to him. He was startled at first, but soon he began to worry. Lord Chaitanya will chastise me. He inquired from Nityananda, who broke the danda? Nityananda replied, the one who took the danda in the first place. The Lord himself, he broke his own danda. So he is saying, I was just the instrument, maybe. Anyway, we cannot imitate this. The one who took the danda in the first place, the Lord himself has broken his own danda. Who else could do such a thing? Meaning he inspired me to break the danda. Jagadananda picked up the broken pieces of the danda and without replying, silently walked away. Because Mahaprabhu had entrusted him with the danda. Jagadananda went directly to where Lord Chaitanya was seated. He threw the broken pieces of the danda in front of the Lord. The Lord looked up and asked, how was the danda smashed like this? Did he get in a fight? Tell me what happened. Jagadananda narrated everything as he had seen it. He said Nityananda, who is always wrapped in meditation, has done this. Lord Chaitanya turned to Nityananda and inquired. It is like, anyway, Nityananda, who is always wrapped in meditation, has done this. Lord Chaitanya turned to Nityananda and inquired, what was your reason for smashing my danda? Nityananda Prabhu reported, they were just some bamboo sticks that I broke. And if you cannot forgive me for this, then punish me as you wish. Lord replied, danda is the residence of all the demigods, and you reduce its importance to some bamboo poles? Who can comprehend the esoteric pastimes of Lord Chaitanya? Anyway, as we also discussed, Paramahamsa, Vaishnava, he doesn't even, when he gives up, he doesn't even carry the danda. He has no possessions, not even the danda. Who can comprehend the esoteric pastimes of Lord Chaitanya? What he considers in his mind, he never speaks, but says something quite different. So if anyone falsely claims to know the Lord's mind, he is certainly ignorant and a cheat. If the Lord decides to destroy someone On meeting him, the Lord treats him affably. Hmm. If the Lord decides to destroy someone, on meeting him, the Lord treats him affably. And to devotees who are as dear to him as his very soul, he shows himself to be unbiasedly disposed. These are the various moods and pastimes the Lord reveals. They are inconceivable, hence, only those who are graced by the Lord's mercy can perceive their true nature. The danda was broken by the Lord's own desire, that now he was showing his anger. The Lord said, I had only my danda as a companion, but that also was broken by Krishna's will. Now I am alone. So all of you go ahead and I will follow behind. No one dared to refute Lord Chaitanya's decision. The devotees became concerned over this matter. Mukunda intervened and said, you go ahead of us, my lord, for we must stay back for some work. With polite agreement, the Lord left, walking away like a lithe, mad lion with a supple gait that is hard to describe. The Lord soon arrived in Jaleshwara village. He went directly to the temple of Lord Shiva, the main deity in that village. The Shivalinga deity was well looked after by the local Brahmana priest. The floral decoration in the temple and on the deity were attractive, and the smell of incense permeated the air, giving the place an exhilarating devotional mood. Devotees in the temple were singing, playing musical instruments, and dancing. The Lord's anger subsided in the joyful atmosphere, the danda being broken. He let the loving devotional feelings in his heart gradually flow. He let the loving devotional feelings in his heart gradually flow and merge in with the music. Enlivened by his dear devotees, Lord Shiva's opulence and influence in the temple, Lord Chaitanya began to dance happily. Lord Chaitanya knows Lord Shiva's glorious character, but he is favorite amongst his devotees. If anyone disrespects Lord Shiva, not following the example of Lord Chaitanya, then he cannot be considered a Vaishnava, and all his spiritual advancement is annulled. I've been just hearing Amrita Mahotsav, the Samudra Manthan Leela, and we are at the place where Lord Shiva drinks the poison. So Lord Vishnu himself glorifies Lord Shiva in that pastime. Parvati, Brahma, everyone is glorifying. As the Lord danced, he made joyful sounds so loud that the very mountains seemed to tremble. Lord Shiva's devotees were struck with amazement and thought that Lord Shiva must have appeared in person. The musicians and singers again reached a crescendo, and the Lord became fully absorbed in dancing, losing all contact with the outside world. Karanamrta. Meanwhile, his devotees arrived. Okay. Mukunda began to sing, joined by others. Seeing his beloved associates, the Lord experienced great joy. So his anger is short lived. Kunda began to sing, joined with the others. Seeing his beloved devotees, associates, the Lord experienced great joy. He danced more vigorously while the devotees danced, circling him. The whole scene was dynamically transformed. Tears flowed out effusively in 100 streams from the Lord's eyes. Who can describe all the happenings properly? This temple of Lord Shiva was now sanctified by the Lord's presence and dancing. The real purpose for which the temple was built was now fulfilled. After a while, the Lord became peaceful and embraced all his devotees with great love, giving them divine pleasure. Upon seeing Nityananda Prabhu, the Lord rushed to embrace him as if he just completely forgot the whole danda thing. Upon seeing Nityananda Prabhu, the Lord rushed to embrace him. Holding him firmly, he said, your real business is to calm me down and restrain me and help me maintain my sannyas vows. But instead, you're increasing my madness. If you continue in this way, soon you can have my head too. I'm openly declaring that whatever you want of me, I will always do accordingly. This is the real truth. Wow. The Lord thus instructed everyone, always take great care about Nityananda Prabhu. His position is much more elevated than mine. This is not spoken in an exaggerated manner. It is the simple truth. If anyone commits an offense at his lotus feet, but has not offended me directly, still he has refused entry into the more confidential devotional service of the Lord. An offender against Nityananda may be situated in devotional service, hence he is considered by some as a devotee, but I reject him. Hare Krishna. When Nityananda Prabhu heard his own praise, he bashfully hung his head. All of the Lord's pastimes are so wonderful, and they bring much pleasure to the devotees. Passing that night in Jaleshwara, the Lord started on his journey again at early dawn. Accompanied by all the devotees, he went towards Banstaha, and on the way was taught by a Shakta sannyasi, one who worships the energy of the Lord in the position of the Lord himself. Please tell me, my friend, where you have been for so long that I'm meeting you only now? Where are your other friends? The Shakta became captivated by the Lord, and slowly he began revealing all information about himself and all the other Shaktas. Lord Chaitanya smiled as he listened to him. The Shakta invited the Lord to his so called monastery, saying, please come now to my mata and we can all enjoy the bliss. Drink together. Okay. The Shakta was referring to an alcoholic drinker's bliss, and this amused Lord Chaitanya Nityananda Prabhu. The Lord replied, I will definitely come to enjoy your bliss drink. You should go ahead first to be sure everything is prepared for when we come. The Shakta was very pleased to hear that his invitation was accepted, and he left quickly, feeling elated. How fathomless is the Lord's character. Anyway, this morning Maharaj was speaking, His Holiness Father Govinda Maharaj. Yeah, Lord Shiva, he never drinks, never he never smokes ganja and all this nonsensical things that people claim he does. Father Govinda Maharaj was saying the only thing he ever drank was poison. So all these other things that are attributed to him, ganja and liquor and all that, it's all nonsense, Maharaj was saying. Anyway, so here the Shakta is referring to some bliss drink. The Lord said, go ahead, here will come. The Shakta was very pleased to hear that his invitation was accepted, and he left quickly, feeling elated. How fathomless is the Lord's character. Vedas, the Vedas declare the Lord Krishna is the friend and deliverer of the poor and wretched. Hence the Lord spoke so amiably to the Shakta sannyasi. People began to say, the Shakta has now been delivered, and by his contact, other Shaktas will also become purified just like him. The Lord uses various means to liberate the conditioned souls. So he had no means to actually go and drink. But just by agreeing to the Shakta, in the Shakta, in a way, he became happy. And Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, anyway, it's very instructional. They just told him to get things ready. Follow. So he went in a service mood to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, and the devotees. The Lord, it seems, he never thought of fulfilling his proposal, but he engaged him in his service, and he transformed his heart. It was great, amazing. Okay, I was waiting for this one. I'm sure he would have come to go Remuna. The Vedas declare the Lord Krishna is the friend and deliverer of the poor and wretched. Hence the Lord spoke so amiably to the Shakta sannyasi. People began to say, the Shakta has now been delivered, and by his contact, other Shaktas will also become purified just like him. The Lord uses various means to liberate the conditioned souls. For example, like in Jagannath Puri later on, he delivered, not Jagannath Puri, sorry, Prakashananda Saraswati in Banaras. The Lord agreed to meet him. People were fed up, in Banaras. Mahaprabhu was not saying anything. So they were pained with all the Mayavadi talk in Banaras. And Mahaprabhu, to make his devotees happy, he said, okay, I'll go and meet him. Prakashananda Saraswati, and just meeting him, he delivered him, he conquered him by his humility, and by his Brahman effulgence, he conquered the heart of the Mayavadis, Prakashananda Saraswati, and everyone. He delivered them. So likewise, see this drunkard, this sannyasi, Shakta worshipper, Mahaprabhu delivered them. The Lord arrived at Remuna village. In Remuna is the deity of Lord Gopinath. Upon seeing himself in the deity form, the Lord began to dance ecstatically with all his devotees. Lost in love of himself, he became oblivious to everything. He wept piteously in loving separation. Even the cruelest hearts melted hearing him cry. After a few days, Lord Gaurasundar came to Jaipur village and stayed in a locality called Brahman Nagara. There he visited the temple of Lord Adi Varaha. This deity is unique and was self-manifested. By seeing this deity, all material entanglements are severed. The temple was situated on the banks of the river Vaitharani. Just by seeing this river, one is cleansed of all sins. This entire area is a very holy pilgrimage site. So the Mahaprabhu is traveling along the coast from Shantipur, Bengal, towards Puri, going south, Balasore, Remuna, etc. This entire area is a very holy pilgrimage site. Even if an animal crosses the river at this spot, demigods have the vision to see him take a four-handed Vaikuntha form. Nilachalapur is exactly 80 miles away from the spot known as Nabhigaya or Viraja Kshetra. Okay. So it is this place is being talked about. It's Adi Varaha temple and this whole place. Nilachalapur is exactly 80 miles away from the spot known as Nabhigaya or Viraja Kshetra. This entire area is dotted with many temples. It is impossible to tabulate all of them with details. At first, the Lord went with the devotees to take bath in the river by the bathing place named as Dash Ashwamedha Ghat. Okay. Then they went to offer worship to Lord Varaha. The Lord danced ecstatically in front of the Adi Varaha Dev. The devotees sang, creating a wonderful, devotionally saturated atmosphere. The Lord was very happy to be in Jaipur. His happiness increased with time and he danced more vigorously. Suddenly, without warning, Lord Chaitanya left the devotees and disappeared. It is difficult to know the Lord's desire and the reason for his actions. When the devotees found Lord Chaitanya missing from their company, they began to look around in the temple in desperation. Their search proved futile. They became very worried. Nityananda Prabhu, realizing the plight of the devotees, said, "Please calm yourself. I'm certain I know where the Lord has gone. He wants to visit all the temples and holy places in Jaipur alone. So we should also go out begging and return to the same spot. We will spend the night here, for the Lord is sure to return here tomorrow morning." Okay. The devotees went out and collected food and returned. They cooked the food and received as alms and ate together. Lord Chaitanya, in the meantime, had visited the different temples and returned to the devotees, as Nityananda said. The devotees were jubilant and greeted him with loud chanting of Hari, Hari. In this way, the Lord with his associates blessed Jaipur with his presence and then continued on the journey. Okay, we are getting there. After a few days, the Lord arrived in Kataka city. From there, he went to take a dip in the river Mahanadi. He then went to the temple of Sakshi Gopal to offer worship. Wow, wonderful. Yeah. We went there, remember? The charming, unsurpassable beauty of the deity of Sakshi Gopal. There is an ISKCON temple there now, nice temple, that area. The charming, unsurpassable beauty of the deity of Sakshi Gopal greatly impressed Lord Chaitanya. And feeling surging ecstasy, he began to roar with a thunderous voice. He offered many prayers and exhibited wonderful devotional symptoms, crying in ecstasy for the Lord. The authorized and recommended procedure to invoke life into the deity is by chanting the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna. We heard that? He authorized and recommended process to invoke life prana pratishtha into the deities by chanting the Mahamantra. This Mahamantra was propagated by Lord Chaitanya. And although he is the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yet he is always exhibiting the mode of servitorship of the Supreme Lord. Lord Chaitanya then came to Bhubhaneswara. This city is actually called the Hidden Kashi, the residence of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva had collected waters from all the different holy places and brought them to Bhubaneswara and formed a lake known as Bindu Sarovar. Lord Chaitanya knew the significance of the lake and that it was Lord Shiva's favorite. He took his bath in the lake and further increased its auspiciousness. The linga form of Lord Shiva that was being worshipped there was self-manifest. He went to see the linga and mingled with the crowd of Shiva devotees who were chanting loud praises of Lord Shiva. The linga was surrounded by small lit ghee lamps. Remember, we went to this place in Bhubaneswar, last Jagannath Puri Yatra. Yeah, the linga was surrounded by small lit ghee lamps set in rows offered by the visiting devotees. Lord Chaitanya was pleased to see the opulence of his beloved devotee, Lord Shiva. The Lord's associates were also very happy in that devotional atmosphere. Lord Shiva is always immersed in the meditation of the Supreme Lord, which makes him relish the nectar of devotion and cannot keep from dancing. The same Supreme Lord, Gaurachandra, his master, was dancing ecstatically in front of him. The Lord and his devotees spent the night there. Okay, I think we'll pause here. So this whole thing is about Bhubaneswar Mahatmya from Skanda Purana. So we'll pause here. So Mahaprabhu is almost about to enter Puri. We'll see what we'll do further. Thank you. It was nice to read Chaitanya last times for the last month or so. Hare Krishna. So, any comments, questions, sharing?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The Jaipur that Mahaprabhu visits is a different Jaipur here.
Yeah, it must be. Must be. It is in the Bhubaneswar Cuttack area. Yeah. Yeah.
Even it is spelled as Jayapura, Prabhuji. Jayapura.
Yeah, Jaipura. Yeah, I'm sure there are many Jaipurs in India. It's like, yeah. Vidyanagar. Vidyanagar is everywhere practically, all over India. Thank you. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept number obeisances. All good.
Right.
And this, so when this Dandabhanga pastime is very sweet pastime, and later on here we heard today that afterwards he leaves all of them and goes forward to Jagannath Puri, and then he again meets them at the Seva temple, and there he embraces Nityananda. So his anger is gone. So I was hearing one lecture by Radha Govind Maharaj, His Holiness. And he was saying also when he was narrating this pastime where the prachetas, they come back after their penance and then they see trees growing all over the earth and they get very angry and then, they from their mouth, they produce fire and wind and all that. They're very angry actually, very angry. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj also, he was saying, was very angry with the earth, Mother Earth. But Maharaj is explaining that their anger, we should not think, because pracheta means, cheta means consciousness and pracheta means pure. Their consciousness is very pure. So their anger, we should not attribute it to.
Oh, we lost him. Prabhu, we lost you. Muted. I don't know what happened. Yeah. Hare Krishna. So I think Prabhu is talking about transcendental anger and material anger. Prabhu, are you there?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
So,
you were saying about Pracheta's transcendental anger. Go ahead.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And Maharaj was explaining, similarly, Prithu Maharaj also gets angry with Mother Earth for not giving produce and all that. So Maharaj is explaining that anger of pure devotees or the Lord it's very short-lived. He says for a pure devotee, the anger is only lasts for till the time the other person comes and seeks forgiveness. That's all, or something like that. It's a very short-lived anger. That is what. So we should not mistake it as in a negative way.
Mm. Thank you so much. Anyway, his pastimes are amazing. The attachment to the Lord and to his devotees and the devotees to the Lord. It's just amazing. And the way Lord Chaitanya glorifies Lord Nityananda. Yeah, yeah. Very amazing. The attachment is mutual. Yeah. It's not just that the devotees love the Lord, but the Lord loves his devotees also. Yeah. It takes two to have a loving relationship. Right?
You also like Jagadanand Pandit getting angry with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so it's very.
Yeah. Yeah. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu getting angry with him and then pacifying him and all that. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what Vrindavan Das Thakur is mentioning again and again, right? In many, many instances, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu externally, I think, yeah, this is an important point. Externally, he appears to be something, but internally, it's something else, right? Whether it's Chota Hari Das, or Jagadananda Pandit, even, like he's chastising him. Jagadananda Pandit is trying to give him all these facilities, even sandalwood oil and nice bed and all these things. Mahaprabhu, of course, he chastises him. Yeah, but what's going on internally for Mahaprabhu is different. Even this Shakta sannyasi who came, he said, "You can't will enjoy." I said, "Yeah, I'll come. Just go ahead and get everything ready." Amazing. He's an expert. He didn't chastise him. He said, like, what the heck? What are you doing? He said, "Yeah, I will come. Just get everything ready." And as Prabhu is saying, we should not get bewildered. And sometimes, and for a minute, the devotees will maybe wondering, we're going to really drink? We're going to go? And Prabhupada also did that sometimes. Yeah, he did that sometimes. He would engage people like that. Anyway, this devotional service is very, very mystical. It's very, very mystical. Just a simple thought, even, or a desire to please, right, the devotees or the Lord. Devotional service begins. That's it. So that's why Srila Prabhupada encouraged the devotees. If we are, if we behaved well, our character is nice, people just by their appreciation, wow, these devotees are nice. I mean, they don't even have to do anything. Just by appreciating that, doing that, their devotional service begins. Like the air hostess on the plane, Prabhupada. Yeah. So devotional service, it just begins just by very small things. Some small service is done, even not even a service, but even just a thought. to serve the Lord with the devotees, life starts to change. Amazing. And so that is also the reason sometimes the devotees, even anyway, consciously also, they try to engage people in general in services. I mean, they could do it themselves, but simple thing like like in the airport or etc. Like I guess immigration, airport, this that these sannyasis that are traveling, so on and so forth. Yeah, even if that the person across the counter, he offers, hey, can I fill your form or your whatever, or you know check in your bags or things like that. So some small sukriti, agyata sukriti, even devotional service begins. Like that Prabhupada's, during Prabhupada's time, that person, the drunkard, who used to just bring, toilet paper. He thought, well, these devotees are nice. The Prabhupada is having this program and it looks like they don't really have much money. So he thought, maybe, there's a toilet here, bathroom here. I'll just bring toilet paper. Okay. Prabhupada said this person's devotional service has begun. Hey, so how merciful the Lord is. I was just thinking, even just a small thing. That's the beauty of the Lord. Maharaj was mentioning, right? He takes something which is small and he magnifies it, he makes it big. In fact, in the Sudama pastime, the other day Maharaj was explaining that the Lord felt, the reason the Lord did not tell Sudama, hey, I want to give you something, I want to give you a palace, I want to give you riches. The Acharyas explained, actually the Lord felt, the meaning he felt shameful that this Sudama, he has actually nothing. He has nothing. But somehow or the other, he begged something from somewhere. And in a way, he went beyond his means to get this rice for me. So he went beyond his means. And if I go beyond my means, that means I have to give him, I don't know what I have to give him. So the Lord is saying, I'm just giving him, like a palace or a small village or something. So the Lord felt that he was actually not reciprocating enough with Sudama. Anyway, so that's the Lord. Anything else? Well, I hope the intention of reading Chaitanya Leela was to increase our attachment to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates by hearing. Yeah. In ISKCON, there are many different devotees. Yes, some still struggle. I know some devotees still struggle with Lord Chaitanya. Said, yeah, Krishna, but Lord Chaitanya, I can't connect. Really? Can't connect with Lord Chaitanya? Anyway, so by hearing from great souls like Vrindavan Das Thakur, Chaitanya Manga, and Lochan Das Thakur, and by hearing their or their attachment to the Lord, we also become attached. A spark of their attachment, a speck of their attachment. Okay. So if there's nothing else, we'll end.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept normal obeisances.
Haribol.
Prabhu, I was remembering that even Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he used to collect 50 paisa from every home, and he did not collect beyond the amount so that everybody gets Sukriti. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. And Prabhu, yes, Prabhu. One question was coming that Lord Chaitanya has now like this variegatedness of relationships. Like he has a relationship with Nityanand Prabhu, who is like his brother or a spiritual companion, where he's getting angry, but he is not displaying it. And like he got angry when Nityanand Prabhu broke Danda, but he just tolerated that. And then when he went to the Lord Shiva's temple, his anger got disappeared when his devotion in the heart magnified by the environment in the temple. And then he has this relationship with Sakta, basically that he's just like letting him do whatever he wants. And Jagdanand Pandit, he has a different relationship. And we ourselves also, we have very like variegatedness of relationships are there in our spiritual life. We have family, we have devotees, senior devotees, peer devotees, junior devotees. So Prabhu, any takeaway from this story, any takeaway from these pastimes for us, how we can deal with different relationships? Just, yeah.
Well, yeah, Maharaj was speaking about this in Vyasa Puja also. Yeah, variety is the mother of enjoyment. Krishna's is Raso Vaisaha, right? Krishna is Rasa. He likes to enjoy different mellows with different living entities. And that's the purpose of the living entities creation, actually. Like Prabhupada gives a very simple example. Why do parents have children? Well, I mean, they're happy in themselves, but then they expand. Why do they expand? To have relationships, loving relationships. Similarly, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. So the Lord, of course, this is not an event in time that, oh, and one time t is equal to t minus 1, and t is equal to time 0, and like that living entities came into existence. So it's not an ontological event, as Maharaj said, or chronological event. Yeah. So anyway, so the Supreme Lord, he likes to have relationships. He likes to enjoy. He likes to enjoy, and the main enjoyment is rasa, not the thing. He doesn't enjoy the thing in a way, right? Even the Tram Pushpam Palam Toyam, there he's enjoying the rasa of that offering. So he likes to enjoy relationships, likes to enjoy. And so then variety is the mother of enjoyment. And then primarily there are these 5 rasas. And then even in rasas, as you're saying, there are gradations. Then there are a mixture of rasas, and it's like exciting. Yeah, otherwise it'd be boring, right? Like everybody is the same. Like it's boring. And Mahaprabhu explained actually, because this is a thing in the other day, in Sanatan Goswami and Advaita Acharya, sometimes they tell the Lord, oh, you never chastise us. You treat us like, your spiritual master, you're like an adult. But this devotee, you chastise him. So actually, he is in your inner circle. You're not in your inner circle. Mahaprabhu said, no, it's nothing like that. It's not like, because I chastise him, he's in the inner circle, and I don't chastise you, you are in the outer circle. It's just a different relationship. So we should not draw conclusions, essentially. I think the takeaway for us is we should not make interpretations with Vaishnavas. You follow? Oh, Maharaj spoke like that to him, and, like that's to me. And, well, okay. Yeah, but it's a different relationship, right? It's a different relationship. So we should Yeah, we should, variety is the mother of enjoyment, unity and diversity. We should enjoy the different relationships. And of course, we can only enjoy if we accept, if we try to change person to somebody else, then it's no fun. Right? So we have to accept the person as they are, and then we can actually try to have a relationship. Because otherwise, if you're busy trying to change somebody and then have a relationship, then there's no relationship. So yeah, you meet the person where they are. You meet the person. You accept the person as they are, and you try to. And then Krishna will give you the intelligence, right? The Dami Buddhi Yogam. Okay, how to have a relationship with this? This will be important because children also, parents. Every child is different. If one tries to have a relationship with yeah, Sita is different, Himangi is different. So we cannot. The parents cannot have the same relationship with Sita and Himangi. They are two different children. Anyway, so we should, yeah, ideally we should avoid comparisons and all that. Some disturbances coming. One second. Some disturbances coming. Somebody's Kanaka Manjari Mataji, I think. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so no, so I was saying, you're saying any lessons? Yeah, so appreciate, as Guru Maharaj also mentions, a bouquet of flowers. Yeah, same flowers together, that's also nice, a bouquet. But sometimes when there's a different arrangement of different flowers in the bouquet even looks even more beautiful. So yeah, finding things to appreciate in everyone. Yeah, the horse is even the animals. The horse is a horse. The cow is a cow. Yeah, the dog is a dog. One time, Srila Prabhupada was asking a question, I said, to devotees, which is the most beautiful animal? So of course, Prabhupada, so they all thought Prabhupada likes cows, as devotees we are supposed to like cows. Somebody said cow. Not cow. Cow is not the most beautiful animal. He said horse. Horse. Anyway, so that's Prabhupada. So
Thank you very
yeah,
much.
so we should avoid, essentially, for us, takeaways. We should avoid interpretation, judgments, and conclusions. So there are 5 levels. Something is happening. It's called, and then you stay on the observation platform. You follow. Oh, Lord Chaitanya is dealing like this with Jagadananda, like that with Mukunda, like this with. It's an observation. And if the Lord, reveals something to us, maybe we understand like that. So observation. Then once then how we make meanings, and this is the whole science called epistemology, how we make meanings of things. So there's something happens, right? It's an event. So there's an experience of that event, actually. So the experience of the event, in a way, you cannot fully capture it, describe it, right? The chanting of the Mahamantra or prasadam. Sometimes the prasadam is amazing or whatever. We have some experience with devotees. So that experience is we feel it on the silent level. We feel it in our body. But when we try to describe it, there are limitations. So it is something called, so we abstract, we follow. So there is an experience. And then the moment we start to describe it, first is the descriptive level. So we begin to abstract meaning take away or summarize what we experience. So it's the first layer of abstraction is the description of the event. He said, Krishna Mataji has taught us these things. And now, like, okay, what's the connection? This connection is with relationships. So there is an experience, and then on the experience, we begin to describe it. And then when we describe, then after that, usually we interpret. And then so again, as we go up, the abstraction becomes more and more. Follow. Take away. Description, then interpretation, then judgment, and some conclusion. You follow. Mataji used to give the example, when they had gone to the Vrindavan Yatra many years ago. So a bull, they were in the Yatra, they were in the Parikrama, and then suddenly a bull began to run, charge at them. So of course, Mataji was saying, so I had the terror. There was fear in the heart. You see a bull charging at you like that. So that was the experience. There was fear. And of course, if you do something, you evade the bull, or you get hit by the bull. Okay, now you begin to describe it, okay, what you felt when the bull was charging and things like that. And then you interpret, maybe, I've committed some offense, or I'm not a good devotee, or whatever. Maybe Krishna doesn't want me in Vrindavan. Maybe, and then I don't like Vrindavan. I'll never come to Vrindavan. So just a small experience, one experience, and then you sort of draw some conclusion from that. So the reason I'm saying these things there, so when we see devotees and exchanges, and we try to stay on the observation platform. That's interesting. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, and then be careful in building, castles and conclusions and all that from there. Because then that's the whole realm of offenses, and and problems happen there. So not speculate, essentially speculation about relationships. Oh, that person loves me, he doesn't love me, this, that. Yeah. So variety is the mother of enjoyment. We should focus on just investing in our relationship with Krishna. Krishna is unlimited. He can handle, he can have a relationship with you, he can have a relationship with your wife, and millions of living entities. There is room for everyone. So we don't need to feel threatened or insecure. Our relationship may be different than our neighbors, which is okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, actually, Maharaj mentioned this bull incident in this yatra, in his Jaikund lecture. He was, Maharaj and Dinbandhu Prabhu were there together. So Maharaj mentioned that Dinbandhu Prabhu helped all the devotees, and Mataji got her leg fractured, I think, in that event. So, yeah, thank you.
Yep. Well, anyway, so Krishna Mataji jokes about it. She said at that time, I'm never coming back to India. But of course, she changed her mind, We requested her. She came to Indore and she loved it, She came for 5-6 years.
Yeah, Prabhu, this was when we were all, I think this Talwan,
Yeah,
we were all
2001, first yatra. First yatra, 2001. Yeah, go ahead.
Correct. We were all walking through a village. I was also there. And when bull from the opposite direction started running, it was this narrow street, And so all the people were trying to run here and there, but just, and there is a trench alongside the road. It's a drain.
Gadda, gutter, nali, yeah.
So
Hemangi and Nityananda, Hemangi Mataji were busy talking, I think.
Yeah.
And Maharaj just sort of evaded like that, and boom. Go ahead.
And then Krishna Mataji, she stepped into that drain trench.
Yeah.
And she kind of fell down,
and she jokes really about it. And our tape ministry person, Murari Chaitanya at that time, Brahmachari, he was taking the video. He didn't give a hand. He was taking the video. It is
And that was the
interesting.
time Dinabandhu Prabhu was there, and he was doing Madhukari. He was holding his Uttariyam, and people from that
Yeah.
terrace, they were dropping chapatis into that. And then we all went there and we had to eat. We shared that Vrajvasi rotis.
Rajavasi. Yeah. The first yatra, I think only 30-40 devotees were there. I think very small
Yeah,
group
right.
actually.
And Maharaj is asking Dinabandhu, are they offered? Dinabandhu says Rajvasi, so it is, just eat it.
Very interesting. But she remembers that incident very fondly, Mataji. She laughs about it. Okay. Hare Krishna. All right. Thank you. We'll end. So let us see. Yeah, we'll see about the future classes and if we'll have or what we'll have and all. My son is coming tomorrow morning or tomorrow. Gaurav Govinda is coming to America for a few days. So he'll be here. We'll see how it goes. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your wonderful narration. It was a treat, really. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. You're welcome. Thank you for receiving Caitanya Mangala and Caitanya Bhagavat.